So, over the last 8 years, I've worked with founder CEOs, primarily running 100% remote first companies with offshore teams. I started in 2018, and in the first 3 years, I worked in sales and I sold over $1 million in digital products on the phone to my clients' customers, which I thought was unreal. I could barely even talk to like a stranger and ask them for directions on the street. So that was wild to me. And then I went on and worked with other entrepreneurs who are like very well seasoned, who'd been doing this since their teens and have generated over $50 million in revenue through their portfolio companies. And I learned so much about running a business. I learned so much about teams. I learned so much about sales and marketing and just how a business runs day to day. Then I went on to work with a course creator as well. Online education space is somewhere that I've absolutely loved. And I worked with an online course creator who generated over $25 million in sales in under 5 years. And I loved her story. What she mainly taught is she really taught people to bring in what they can only bring, like what is their natural flavor to life. And she got paid for it. And that again was wild. And then I went on and worked with various entrepreneurs again. I then took on leadership roles, where I was a director of operations for a YouTuber with a back-end online education offer, where he also doubled his business in less than 18 months, then moving him into the multi-7-figure range now. And also worked as head of client success, where we started at another business where I got in at about 600K a year. And by the time I was leaving, their business had got to just under 2 million a year. This was in 18 months as well. So these roles consistently generated for me a stable $100,000 a year income for myself. And here I started noticing a theme. When the business would start getting into and trending towards the 2 million to 3 million range, the roles eventually became misaligned. One of the main reasons was because I wasn't creating systems over time that made my life easier. I was holding things together through a sheer will and sheer competence and just white knuckling my way through it. And it could only work up until a certain point. And without repeatable systems that can actually be used at scale, my way of working was just not going to be sustainable and wasn't going to take my client to where they wanted to be. And then I had to sit down and ask myself, well, what do I actually want? There was a fork in the road. So one lane took me towards upskilling. I could get mentors, I could get coaches who would help me and teach me how to scale a business and operate a business that is in the 3 million plus range. Or I could then take another route, which was go back to where my clients were when I first got them and have that as my role of expertise. So if a client is making $500,000 a year and they want to move up into the 3 million, 5 million, 10 million eventually, I could come in and stay with them until they're at about ranging into 3 million a year. And at that point, I know my time is up. I know I'm going to leave. I know that will then bring them in someone who is much better at the complexities of scale. Because what I wanted to stay in and what I realized my strengths were and what I enjoyed was, first of all, creative problem solving that is required when things are scrappy. We don't have that much money lying around. So what do we do with that? And another one of my skills that I wanted to explore was around creativity and connection, which is why I created this YouTube channel. So I've obviously chosen option 2, which is staying with clients at a range that I can absolutely crush it with them and pursuing things like this YouTube channel that I'm doing here. So this channel is for you if you're in a season of reinvention like I am. So I am reinventing how I'm showing up for my clients. I'm reinventing how I'm showing up for myself when it comes to my income. I'm reinventing and creating a life where is systemized in as much as it possibly can be so that I can take on the hard things. I can create more impact in my life without feeling overwhelmed, without feeling like I'm burning out, without being so reactive. So while I'm creating systems, I am not relying on willpower. I am not white knuckling my way through the days like I used to for months until I just couldn't do it anymore. And one of the biggest things I'm doing is I'm not consistently fixing my weaknesses. I am fully making myself available for my strengths for the first time in my work life and seeing what that does for me. So the work is still demanding. I still want to show up in the best way that I can possibly show up as. However, we're just saying no to burnout. We're saying no to burnt out nervous systems at the end of the day. So if you're moving to a more sustainable way of working, you're building systems so you can create multiple income streams. Because one of the issues that I also had is that most of my income came from one or possibly two clients every so often when I had consulting gigs. However, it required all of my presence all of the time. So I couldn't take a break. Well, I felt like I couldn't really take a break because then my work stopped. So that is something that I am addressing when it comes to my income. So I'm looking at building multiple income streams. So if I want to take a break for maybe a month or two off of client work, my income doesn't go to zero, which is what would typically happen before, or they would just look for someone else who could do the work in that time. So if this is resonating with you, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and watch me as I reinvent my income, reinvent my life in real time. And this is not a polished version. This is very much in real time as I build an income sources and a life that truly supports the biggest vision I have for my life rather than just the next income milestone.